Those of you who have been following me, watching videos, articles that I've written for several years now, know the deal. You know the message. The media is a criminal organization run by the mafia. Their goal is to rip you off. First of all ad-based content, media of every form, is there to rip you off. You don't pay the bills. They don't care about you. They want to pretend. They want to masquerade that they're providing you with value when in fact they are not. They're providing you, in the best of scenarios, they're providing you with a bunch of fluff and bullshit. Okay, and that's with these blogs and so forth that don't have a whole lot of control, some of them do, over the content. That's why they want to get you to keep coming back, sending you email alerts, every day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day. That's why all these message boards, right? They want you to comment. Oh, let us know what you feel, right? Let us know what your opinion is. They don't give a fuck about what you think. They want you to write shit down, give them free content, and that content feeds upon itself. Other sheeple who view that content end up responding to that. You understand? Scam, that's what it is. In addition to that, when someone comments on your comment, well, there's a notification, and you go back and check it out. Well, guess what? That's another ad click. You understand? Another click. And of course, the most vicious way that the media is against you as the audience is through their advertisers. That's who they care about. That's who they care about. So they want to steer you in the gutter. They want to pretend they've got experts there for you. They want to pretend they're providing value when the fact of the matter is that they seek to provide misleading, deceptive, deranged, delusional, absolutely inaccurate and wrong content such that the advertisers will benefit. And the financial media is the best, the easiest way, the best example, the easiest way to see this relationship. You can imagine all the bozos and jugheads and contrarian indicators and idiots that they position as experts in the media, right? Once you get confused, you trade more, Charles Schwab's happy. E-Trade's happy. They spend more ad dollars. Once you get blown up listening to clowns, the crew in the media, Faber, Schiff, all these clowns, they continue to be wrong over and over and over again about everything. You blow up. Then you run to Merrill Lynch. Please help me. Right? You understand how it works, folks. Oh, and by the way, let me just go ahead and review. Of course, the media figures, since it is a criminal institution, and we know that organizations that are run by Jewish clans, mafia, they discriminate against everyone else. That is a fact. That is a fact. Okay? I've been there. I've seen it. I worked on Wall Street. You can see it in the media every day. You can see pinheads that are not qualified idiots moving up the ranks very quickly. I'll go into that later on. At some point, I'll do a feature on that. But the point is that they figure, hey, if we're going to provide dog shit content, we may as well promote our tribesmen, enrich their pocketbooks. And this is why you've got losers out there who are making tens of millions of dollars selling completely useless bullshit books. Oh, and by the way, speaking of that, of course, comes to mind Peter Schiff. You have to understand the psychology, folks. Here's how it works. Anyone that's, because of the media, the way it works, right, the Paris Hilton effect, anybody that's in the media is a celebrity. They think, people are like, they don't even analyze the content of a book. Right? They don't even, if people are reviewing Peter Schiff books accurately, based upon the true value, the absolute value, and the accuracy, right? He would have the worst reviews ever. But people normally, I like Peter, You understand, folks? This is the reality. This is how it works. Okay? This is how it works. And Schiff knows this. This is why Schiff, over the years, has been really vigilant about shutting everyone else out, making sure no one criticizes him. If they're on a portal that has some visibility, exposure, he'll threaten to sue the publisher. They can't talk about me. I've had articles pulled. What a piece of fucking trash. This is fraud, folks. This is what this is. This is fraud. I'm not going to go into the numerous counts of fraud, in my opinion, that this chump has fucking engaged in. And if he wants to challenge me, let's go. And I'll make sure and have FINRA and the SEC by my side, and so I can tell them what's been going on. Because those fucking idiots over there, FINRA and the SEC, are too fucking stupid to figure things out. And even when they do, you know, they want to give the tribesmen a free pass, a free get out of jail card. I'm not going to talk about all the bait and switch and, you know, calling something money. Listen, I'll tell you what money is. It's what the fucking government says it is. And if you say otherwise, you're a fucking liar and a con man. I don't care what you call something. If you call corn money or rice or gold or silver, let me tell you something. In the U.S., that is a lie. That's a fraud. I consider that, in fact, all these people out there talking about, oh, the dollar, a crash, oh, this, all this bullshit doomsday, these people, in my opinion, should and could be categorized as domestic terrorists because they are trying actually to destroy the positive sentiment in the U.S., to destroy the U.S. economy. I'm taking off the fucking gloves. I'm pissed off. Too many people are getting hoodwinked by all this bullshit. And of course, at the end of the day, by this time, the problem is, those of you who are getting ripped off and hoodwinked and deceived, it's your fucking fault. Because you keep falling for this shit. You don't ask the questions. You still got these numbskulls out there that are believing the bullshit. Listen, you're going to fall for that shit. You're doomed. Not just in investments. You're doomed in your life. Because everywhere you turn, there's con men all over the place. Everywhere. And nothing's being done about it. Let me go on now to the main topic here. Here we are. China collapsing. All this stuff. None of this has surprised us. Our research. We pinpointed everything in advance. In advance. And by the way, you got Wall Street now. Now they're lowering the chance of a September rate hike in the U.S., right? It's, August 25th or so, 26th. They're lowering that now. The consensus says it's going to be 25% or 28%. What? These are idiots. Idiots! Anyway, I'm not going to... Research subscribers know. I talked a year ago. I said there wasn't even going to be any rate hike before December. Okay? And if there is, it's a big problem. But anyway, the point is that you got these guys, these doomsday charlatans, pushing gold as money and all this shit, who now you see the reality. The mask has been pulled from these emerging economies. China, Brazil, Russia, South Africa, right? The BRICS. India. Actually, India's relatively strong, other than recently with the huge capital outflows and the collapse of the rupee. But nonetheless, you've got, and I've talked about this before, these clowns, right? Jim Rogers, right? All these clowns talking about how Brazil and China and Russia, they're gonna unite and defeat the dollar dominance, right? You're gonna fall for that shit. You're doomed. Not just in investments. You're doomed in your life. Because everywhere you turn, there's con men all over the place. I mean, you got Brazil in the most severe economic collapse in nearly 25 years. Do you remember what was going on in Brazil in the 90s? Hyper fucking inflation. Okay? And China, as I've been talking about for quite some time, China is going to blow up. And they don't talk about the dollar. You understand? They're going to pitch their game of deceit and fraud, regardless of what happens. And they're going to keep spinning this shit. Spinning and spinning and spinning, because they're trying to sell you a bag of fucking rocks. You understand? And they're charging a huge premium. These guys pulling this shit, whether they're selling gold directly, whether they're making money under the table, getting paid by gold dealers for promoting this ridiculously insane and delusional narrative, or whether they're just getting the media exposure to able to sell their books or other things. Irrespective, they're committing fraud. Fraud! And that's right. You heard it from me, Mike Stathis. They're committing fraud. All of them! Fraud. They're lying. Folks, we're not talking about one time, 2 times, a few instances down the road where they're talking about, this, gold, this, and the economy. This has been going on for many years. They don't talk about the dollar's 12-year highs versus every other currency that's been devastated. They don't talk about that. They keep talking about the dollar collapse, the collapse in the U.S. You understand? So when China collapses, and of course, even those who aren't even subscribers of the research know, you can check the MP3. I made a public announcement warning about the Chinese stock bubble in January of 2015. I actually warned about it prior to that, but not publicly, with some other clients in December. And then a couple of months later, I think maybe a few months later, Jim Rogers, you can check the site, I did a video. Jim Rogers comes on and is interviewed and is talking about, oh yeah, I'm doing well. I'm in China's stock market. Well, as you'll recall, when I saw that was the exact timing that I needed. I knew it was going to blow up, but that was the timing that I needed. Okay, I contacted the fund manager and told them to short the Chinese market. And just a couple days after that, kaboom! Contrarian indicator Rogers, contrarian indicator Faber, contrarian indicator Harry Dent, contrarian indicator Peter Schiff. They're all the same. They're all the same. They're marketing and sales guys pitching you bullshit. They're not analysts. They're not strategists. They're clowns, and their track record proves that. It's beyond intellectual fraud what's going on currently in the market. And these guys are talking about how, oh no, well, China's not really a bubble. It's not that bad. China didn't cause the problems. The U.S. is the problem. This is beyond intellectual fraud. This is flat out fraud. And the media is largely responsible because the media is the publisher of these guys. They're broadcasting this dog shit. And the media, because it's run, is immune to lawsuits. You understand what's going on? These con men are passing the buck. You understand? They're broadcasting their dog shit to a platform by which the owners of the platform, the media crime bosses, they're responsible. But they can't be sued. So the con men are going to them, and no one can get sued. You understand? This is the fucking scam of the century. It's going on right now. Think about that, folks. It's about accountability. If I came on TV and said some of the things as a financial advisor, when I was working as a financial advisor, if I came on TV and said some of the things that Peter Schiff was saying, has said, continues to say, I don't understand how I wouldn't be barred from the industry. And I understand how the industry works. I understand compliance. Maybe if my name was Stathis or Stathis, I would get away with it. But by going on TV, you understand, what's going on here is you're getting these individuals, and Peter Schiff is the main one because he's one of the few who pitches this ridiculously irresponsible and delusional narrative, which has been absolutely wrong in every aspect. And just look at the performance of his mutual funds. Complete devastation. But you got media exposure. There's a lot of suckers out there. Exposure means money because there's a lot of dumbasses out there. The end. Paris Hilton's a perfect example. Okay? Kim Kardashian, perfect example. You understand? Peter Schiff is the Kim Kardashian of finance. Okay? So, what's going on is you have these guys out there. You have these guys who are able to actually solicit investment narratives, investment strategies, to essentially implant things into the minds of the audience. And when that audience goes to open an account at Peter Schiff's firm, and they say, well, I want gold. Okay. Well, I want foreign currencies. Okay. Peter Schiff and his jugheads, they get to write down unsolicited. The trade was unsolicited. That means that Schiff and his bozos did not pitch that to them. But they actually did. Peter Schiff actually did on TV. You understand the scam? You understand? Somebody needs to tell FINRA and the SEC, they're not going to do shit, but tell them that you know the score. And you know they're not doing nothing because it's the mafia. SEC, FINRA, all of Wall Street. It's a mafia. So let me begin now. This is the actual reason why I wanted to talk about this. I was at some place where there happened to be a TV on late at night, and Mark Faber was on. They had Bloomberg on, and they were interviewing Mark Faber. Okay. Now, this is a guy, by the way, who, like all these other clowns, has been talking about, oh, well, you know, I'm not worried about the China bubble. Well, it's not just China, it's America's. That's the real bubble, right? Those of you who get the research, you know, I've already talked about where China's headed. Okay? People are going to find out. They're going to find out the reality about China and China's economy. So anyway, so they were asking Mark Faber, live call-in, Thailand. I mean, just think about the ludicrous nature of this. Bloomberg is calling some guy, okay, in Thailand, asking him about the economy. Thailand? He's in the fucking sticks of Thailand, in northern Thailand, in the sticks. I mean, what the hell does this guy know? But of course, they want to promote him. Promote his useless ass bullshit newsletter. And the guy sounded like he was on his deathbed. He couldn't even pronounce several words. But it happened to be, I think it was around noon there in Thailand. So I don't know what his deal was. Is he losing his mind? Does he have pre-senile dementia? You know, is he still hungover from a late night? I don't know. But it didn't sound too coherent, in my opinion. Let me give you an example. And I remember this. I can't tell you if it's exact quotes. Pretty damn sure it's close. He was asked about China. And so, of course, you know, the focus is on China now. He can't run away from it. So now he wants to kind of come in and kind of, you know, exaggerate things so he can be, you know, oh, Mark said this. Yeah, he predicted this. You understand? This is a guy before that wasn't worried about China. So what was he saying? Well, he said China economic growth for 2015 is going to be 4%. That's what he said. 4%. Ridiculous. And he says, oh, well, the government numbers, they're going to post 7.8%. This is exact. These are quotes. 7.8%. These numbers are exact. Exactly what he said. Okay? 7.8%. I mean, this guy's delusional. Anyone that's remotely, passively following China knows the Chinese government estimates had been and continue to be 7%. So why is he saying 7.8%? He doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. I mean, if you don't even have a clue about what the government expects, where's your head? You understand? No one challenges this stuff. This is irresponsibility. This is beyond irresponsible behavior by Bloomberg. It's fraud. It's fraud. They're doing no due diligence, no fact checking. They're not questioning him. They're not saying, hey, wait a second, Mark. I thought the Chinese government said it's going to be 7%. Anyway, he goes on to say, well, of course, Wall Street's not going to argue that 7.8%. He claims because they do a lot of investment banking business, so they're not going to want to upset Wall Street. Well, first of all, they don't do that much investment banking business. Wall Street has actually been very pessimistic. They have been very pessimistic. They have, for the most part, been talking about at least 6.8% for the year, okay, along with the IMF, that's what their estimate is, okay? So he's factually incorrect. He has no fucking clue what he's talking about. Now, 99.99% of the audience didn't spot this. They don't know because they don't have a frame of reference. This is why you have to stay away from the media. I catch this stuff. Why? Because, listen, all I do is research. I know the deal. I can spot something when someone's full of shit or they're factually incorrect instantly. And that's why I'm telling you all this, because I know that most people aren't going to know this. That's the way the scam works. You understand? This is why people get hooked into things. They don't understand how much full of shit the media is. Sure, China's in trouble. Sure. But you understand, he's trying to exaggerate things to cover his bases in case, because, if China has a complete collapse this year, then yeah, it's possible they could get 4%, because, they could have a quarter or 2 quarters of GDP, at 1%, or maybe even lower, right? He has no clue what he's talking about. He's a clown. So anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and point this out. And then, of course, I believe after that they had Liz Ann Saunders, or before that, Charles Schwab chief. She's a clown. She's a bozo. She has no clue what's going on whatsoever. Folks, these people are all in marketing. Even the Wall Street investment strategists and chief economists, I know, I worked there. They're sales and marketing. They're communicators. That's what they do. They focus on communicating. Okay? Now, sometimes you can get some value, but you have to know already what's going on, you see. And most people aren't in that position. I certainly don't pay attention to what they say other than for sentiment, because it's low yield. I have to wait, to hear some guy from Wall Street speak, 10, 20 times before he says anything of value. That's a waste of my time. Okay, so that's all I had to say for today.
And we're short NVIDIA, it's a loser. 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 And we're short NVIDIA, it's a loser.
Their earnings report is a complete game changer, at least for quite a while. Bottom line, NVIDIA now is going to enter the realm of Tesla, Apple, and all these other big,
And we're short NVIDIA, it's a loser. And we're short NVIDIA, it's a loser.
I mean, listen, NVIDIA can come down to 150, come down to $100. If you don't think it's possible, then you don't understand how the market works. I mean, listen, NVIDIA can come down to 150, come down to $100. If you don't think it's possible, then you don't understand how the market works.
And we're short NVIDIA, it's a loser.